Hey Carp Geeks, nuclear carp. What am I talking about? Well, behind me, and I hope you can see it in the distance, is Braidwood Nuclear Facility. I'm about 90 miles southwest of Chicago. Around Chicago, about 90 miles out, we have a ring of nuclear power stations which of course need cooling water. Those cooling waters are warm all year. So here I am on St. Patrick's Day 2022. Let's see what we can catch out of this nuclear cooling pond. So I'm just about to get started here at Braidwood Lake, which is of course a nuclear cooling lake. Now it's March 17th, 2022, St. Patrick's Day, okay? And the air temperature on the way down on the car thermometer was 47 Fahrenheit, okay? Wonder what the water temperature is here. Let's take a look. Okay, so in old units, hopefully you can see that 72 Fahrenheit. Switch it over for you scientists, 22 Celsius. So the water's warm because it cools the nuclear power plant, and literally for the fish, it's summer all year. Okay, it's summer temperatures in March, and this place is full of warm water species. There's carp, there's catfish, and even allegedly a few escaped piranhas. So if you catch one of those, that'll be fun. But yeah, let's see how we get on. We're going to test the bait, and let's go. So I'm fishing, well, I counted the turns on the reel. It's 36.5 turns on each rod. Now I'm fishing the bait, but I'm going to fish them well separated. So I'm going to cast one straight out in front of me, okay, and one slightly to the right. Now, because there's a flow in this lake, because the nuclear plant, you know, pumps water out at quite a speed actually, okay, the right-hand rod, even though clipped at the same distance, will actually be closer to the shore, okay, because it's kind of, you know, at an angle. And that means there'll be two kind of competing scent trails, well separated by about 15 to 20 feet, hopefully, okay. So the fish will swim up those scent trails to the method feeders, and we'll see what happens, okay? So one bait will be with and one without. Now, here's a nice little hack, okay? Obviously, you know, I'm going to cast to the clip to make sure I go the same distance every time, feed a consistent area. But if I have to unclip, of course, you know, oftentimes you'll go back around the range sticks. But what I like to do is I actually like to mark the line with just some nail polish remover right where I'm casting to, right? So I can just kind of reel in, you know, get the clip on right where I've put this little mark. So I've already done the first rod, and you know, it's just you know, when you go when you're that weird guy in the you know, the makeup store, right? It's a bit like being that weird guy in Victoria's Secret buying for your girlfriend, right? When you're that weird guy buying stuff in the makeup store, all right, get the waterproof nail polish, okay? This one's called Insta Dry, right? Well, it's not really instant dry, but you want it to kind of sit there for about 5 to 10 minutes and it will dry. And the good thing about it is that, you know, when you come back next time, you can just scrape that off with your fingernail. And it's a really effective way of marking the spot. So the rig today could not be any simpler. Your basic method feeder attached to my favorite corner liner rig. So in the United States, you know, the fish aren't really fished for. They, you know, they're lucky if they're caught once in their life. So simple rigs work well. It's very simply probably 5 to 6 inches of coated braid, last couple of inches stripped back, kind of in a combi style with a piece of quarter fake maize and a quarter size 6 wide gape. Now that combination of maize and hook is important because it will just literally, if I hold it right, hover with the almost wafting above the bottom like that. So that's perfect, okay? And the little weight there, the quarter sinker, actually forms a pivot point, which, you know, when the fish suck it from any direction, it will go in correctly, okay? Okay, so obviously I'm going to do a bait test, and I have to keep the baits, when prepared, dosed and undosed separate. Okay, so let me just run you through how I'm going to make my ground bait. The hook bait will just be regular corn out of a can for both rigs, okay? But The ground bait, I have 2 buckets, all right? One of them obviously is going to be the mark on there. This one will be for the dose bait, and this one will be for the undosed bait. Now, for the dose one, I'll be using version 2 of Impulse. So since last year, over the winter, I've upgraded the formula. It's now much better. It doesn't overdose at any concentration, which is a huge breakthrough. Okay, so version 2 is now out, and anything you buy online is version 2. Now, just to remind you how this works, so on the back, there's a QR code. You scan it, takes you to the website, and there you'll see the instructions for preparation. Ground bait, 3 10 milliliter doses per kilo. I bought 2 kilos with me, identical ground bait, split it in 2, so 1 kilo dose, 1 kilo undosed, all right? And in that dose one, I need 30 milliliters, right? Now, because there's a flow here, and I know this doesn't overdose, I'm actually gonna put a little bit more in. So instead of the 3 shots of 10, I'm actually going to put 4 shots in, okay, because there's flow. That's a nice tip. If you have a water with movement, a lot of movement, it's going to wash out, right? So put a little bit more in. And again, this version 2, it doesn't really matter how much you put in. If you watch some of the earlier videos, you'll see we can go to 1,000 times stronger than needed, and it still works just the same. All right, so just to remind you how this works. So you have the bottle. This is the dosing compartment, okay? So you'll literally remove this cap, and it's already filled, but I'll do it again. You just squeeze until it fills to the line. This is the United States, so it's actually in fluid ounces, so it's half a fluid ounce, around 15 milliliters, okay? So if you're in America, it's 15 milliliters per shot. In the UK and Europe and everywhere else, 10 milliliters, different bottle, all right? Now, I'm going to wet the ground bait with lake water. So I've put just a little bit in there. So, this is not enough to wet the whole ground bait, right? But this is my first amount of water I'm going to use, right? So I'm going to get all the impulse in with this, right? So, I was going to do, 40 milliliters. So this one it'll be 4 UK style. I'm going to do 3 with the 15, okay? So 1, and then give it a squirt again. Watch how it comes up. 2, 1 more. 3, okay? So that's how you use that dosing port to get the, the right amount, right? Now that's in there. I'll use that to prepare the Impulse ground bait, get it to a method consistency, okay? There we go. And I'll show you the ground baits when we're finished. All right, so here's the finished article. Okay, so it took about 300 milliliters of liquid in each case. So, and this one, of course, the Impulse is in this one, labeled, right? Okay, now the ground bait recipe, right? The ground bait is one I make myself because I'm here in the United States. I can't really go and buy some from the store, not really. Okay, and over the years I've developed a nice recipe that works for the method, and also, when you squeeze it hard for the method, and when you squeeze it kind of soft, works great for just regular pole fishing, all right? Now, the nice color comes from a combination of molasses, which gives a nice brown tone, and paprika, okay, or red robin, right, which gives it a nice kind of red tone, okay? So a nice kind of golden brown color. I'm really happy with this ground bait. If you want to give it a shot, again, try the recipe. All right, so I've moved the camera. You can see the whole setup here. So I'm going to start fishing and see how it goes. All right, so we're fishing. Let's see what happens. It's kind of interesting. I'm probably 50 yards from the boat ramp and it's very busy this morning. Okay, so there'll be a lot of boat noise, people turning around in front of me, which I don't really mind because I don't mind fishing in non-ideal conditions because it's a good test for the bait. As you can probably hear, there's someone revving up their motor right now, right? Okay. Oh, a touch on the left rod there. So I started at 9, it's 9:01, so the rod's been in the water 1 minute. I'm fishing, interestingly, the right-hand rod is the one with the impulse, and that's the one I'm fishing closer to the dock. It's closer to the bank, cast to the right, so it's actually in the unfavorable position. So if anything favors the undosed, its position. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. Eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that the corn the fake corn I demonstrated with the rig was yellow. The one on the rig right now is orange. Okay, that's because I keep a bunch of fake corn dipped permanently in betalain. Okay, so it's kind of a sweet additive, and I swap those periodically on the hook. So those old ones I swapped out, and I like orange when I'm using standard corn in the ground bait because it's a little different. It's a very clear venue. Fish, I do think, target kind of things that are different. So slightly different colored hook bait, slightly bigger is where we're at. Okay, so 20 minutes in, no bites yet. We are fishing a method feeder, so I want to keep it going in every 20 minutes if there's no bites, just to get fish in the area. Time for a recast. Having that marker on the line allowed me to clip up really easily. Take on the left rod. Doesn't feel massive. Oh, now it's woken up. Okay, we're on the board. Probably 8-pounder, possibly 10. Nice fish, off the mark. 6 pounds. Oh, that'll be a bite. That was a screaming take on the right rod. Ah, oh, pulled out. Well, I'm counting that as a fish. It's now 1 each. Oh, screamers on the right rod. Seems like a nicer fish. Oh. Oh, that's a nice fish. Nice chunky one, probably about 8-9 pounds. There she blows. All right, 2-1 to the impulse. Okay, so that was pretty interesting. I got back on the orange corn, sharpened the hooks, made an immediate difference. So, coincidence? I don't think so, possibly. But currently 2-1 to the impulse. The impulse actually is caught more fish recently, which kind of makes sense because it's in the kind of not quite as good area, so maybe we're attracting fish now over there, whereas I think, you know, sitting out in front of us further out, That's maybe where they are kind of most of the time. But you know, it's just speculation. Oh yeah. Left rod 2-2. Oh. Oh. Another fish about 7 to 8. Nice shoulders on a small stocky fish, very nice. Another one for the impulse, 3-2. Came off. Count it as a fish though. Four-two impulse. Small one. Oh, that was a small catfish. That explains a lot. It was probably, if it came off, it was probably half a pound. So looks like the catfish are picking up the corn or maize. But we count it as a fish, 4.2. Number 5 for impulse. May have crossed lines, yep. I think I definitely crossed lines. Now, that's either a double header or across the line. Might be double bubble. Actually not. Top banana. All right. Oh, wow. Best fish of the day for impulse. Impressive hook set as well. Probably about 8. Perfect shape too. Let's see if we did get a double bubble. Negative. Okay, that was pretty interesting. I obviously crossed the line, did not get a double take. But it's now 5-2 to impulse, and that fish was interesting. As soon as that boat took off, it took the bait. And I've seen that before on the river and other places. So sometimes when a boat moves, takes off, the fish for some reason take a bait sometimes. Interesting. Coincidence maybe. That's the great thing with plastic baits. You can get what, you know, it might have been a drop take and you can leave it out there, right? So let's see if it picks up again. Oh. Pretty impressive bite, but no fish. That's usually indicative of a catfish, okay? They tend to just hold the bait right in the front of their mouth. There's a pad in the front of the mouth. So a pad in front of the mouth, and so you can literally pull the bait out of the fish's mouth. Wow, what a day. Fished for 4 hours. I'm going to leave the rod set up while I kind of put everything else away, so I'll update the score if anything happens. But since the, the dock got super busy and the guy was trying to start his motor a few times, it went pretty dead. So I think, you know, it might be a while before the fish come back. But on the whole, very good for impulse. It was, I think, when we camped the fish, it was 5 impulse and 2 non-dosed, which was better than normal, to be honest. Interestingly, the first fish of the day came to the non-dose rod, which was put in a more kind of favourable spot, further from the boat dock, further from disturbance, and that was the first fish and the first bite. And you know, I was having my doubts at that point. And then as the day wore on, the impulse rod just went stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, so you know, a good result. What would I do differently? Well, if you notice the rod tips and the line angle, I'll put a picture. It's about a 15 to 20 degree angle between the rod tip and the line, so that there's a big bow in the line, and that's because there's a huge flow on here from the circulation of the water. So next time maybe use a heavier feeder, because I think there may be some feeder movement, and maybe elevate the rods a little bit, maybe fish it barbel style, so to speak. All right, so that might be worth a go next time. But on the whole, very happy with today. Comments, leave them below. See you guys next time.